Long ago, in the wooded hills of Japan, a young farmer and his aged mother lived in a village ruled by a cruel young lord. The lord declared that anyone over 70 should be taken to the mountains and die, as they were no longer useful. When the farmer's mother reached the dreaded age, she spoke these words. "It is time for you now to take me into the mountains," she said softly. So early the next morning, the farmer lifted his mother to his back and set off up the steep mountain path. On and on he climbed, but soon he heard his mother breaking off small twigs from the trees they passed. "I'm marking the path for your way home, my son," she said, "so you will not lose your way." The young farmer could bear it no longer. "Mother, I cannot leave you behind in the mountains. We are going home together, and I will never leave you." In the dark shadows of the night, the farmer carried his mother back home. He dug a deep cave beneath the kitchen, and from that day, the old woman lived in his secret room, spinning and weaving. In this way, 2 years passed, and no one in the village knew the farmer's secret. Then one day, 3 fierce warriors in full armor galloped into the small village like a sudden mountain storm. "We come from the mighty Lord Higa to warn you," they shouted to the young lord. "When 3 suns have set and 3 moons have risen, he will come conquer your village." The young lord begged, "I will do anything if you spare me." "Lord Higa knows no mercy," the warriors thundered, "but he does respect a clever mind. Solve 3 impossible tasks written on this scroll, and you and your village will be saved." And off they galloped as quickly as they had come. "First, make a coil of rope out of ashes," the young lord read. "Second, run a single thread through the length of a crooked log. And third, make a drum that sounds without being beaten." The young lord quickly gathered the 6 wisest people of the village and ordered them to solve the tasks. But when the stars had vanished and the roosters began to crow, they still had no answers. They hurried to the village shrine and asked the gods to help them. They went to seek the clever badger in the forest, for they knew animals are sometimes wiser than men. "Surely you can help us," they said, but the badger only shook his head. "As clever as I am, I see no way to solve these impossible tasks." The 6 wise people returned to the young lord without any answers, and he exploded in anger. "You are stupid fools," he shouted, and threw them into his darkest dungeon. Then he posted a sign asking anyone in the village to help him for a bag of gold. The young farmer hurried home and told his mother about the impossible tasks. "What are we to do?" he asked sadly. "We will soon be conquered by yet another cruel lord." The old woman thought carefully, then asked her son to bring her a coil of rope, a crooked log with a hole running through the length of it, and a small hand drum. He returned with what she had asked. First she soaked the coil of rope in salt water and dried it well. Then she set a match to it and let it burn. But it did not crumble, it held its shape. "There," she said, "is your rope of ash." Next she put a little honey at the end of a crooked log, and at the end she placed an ant with a silk thread tied to it. The farmer watched in amazement as the tiny ant wound its way through the hole to get to the honey, taking the silk thread with it. Finally, the old woman opened one side of the small hand drum and sealed a bumblebee inside, as the bee beat itself against the side of the drum trying to escape. The drum sounded without being beaten, and the 3rd task had been done. When the farmer presented the 3 completed tasks to the young lord, he was astonished. "Surely a man such as you could not be wiser than the wisest people of our village. Tell me, what person of wisdom helped you solve these impossible tasks?" The young farmer could not lie, and he told the Lord how he had kept his mother hidden for the past 2 years. "It is she who solved each of your tasks and saved our village from Lord Higa," he explained. The farmer waited to be thrown into the dungeon. But after a long time, the young lord said, "I have been wrong. Never again will I send our old people to the mountains to die. Henceforth they will be treated with respect and honor, and will share with us the wisdom of their years." Whereupon the young lord freed everyone in his dungeon. Next he summoned the old woman and gave her 3 bags of gold for solving the puzzle. Finally, he allowed the farmer to march with his finest warriors to Lord Higa's castle. The long procession wound slowly over the mountain, carrying its precious cargo, and it was the young farmer who carried the Lord's banner fluttering high in the autumn wind. When they presented to Lord Higga the rope of ash, the threaded log, and the drum that sounded without being beaten, he stroked his chin thoughtfully. "I see there is much wisdom in your small village," he said, "for you have solved 3 truly impossible tasks. Go home," he directed the young farmer, "and tell your lord that his people deserve to live in peace." From that day on, Lord Higga never threatened the small village again. The villagers prospered, and the young farmer and his mother lived in peace and plenty for all the days of their lives.